the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, November 29th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast all about home automation, home technology, Black Friday. Yay! Happy Black Friday, everybody.
Yay.
All the stuff you see on sale on Amazon was already the same price 2 months ago, but now it's on sale again, so go buy it.
I did notice that something I was looking at was about $10 more than it was. So, yeah. They're playing their games.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's two things Black Friday is good for. One, figuring out where you have to unsubscribe from because you get all the email lists. So I use it for that. And two, I renew a lot of my subscriptions on Black Fridays. Even if I'm subscribed to something, usually they're offering a better deal. So I just contact them and say, hey, I want this deal too. And they adjust mine. So Black Friday had some good deals actually this year too. I spent too much money, I think, as usual.
Yeah, I noticed some companies go a little bit further. Then, like, they're like, in the next 5 days, as long as you buy it, like, it's a Black Friday season, you know? And so, like, it's not like just one 24-hour period that you randomly have to get the deal on. You can probably pick up the deal starting now up until whenever. Like, maybe next week sometime. Cyber
it's been
Monday.
Like Black Friday month for us. Like, since the beginning of the month, they've been advertising the deals.
What I'm really waiting for is I got my ad for Harbor Freight the other day.
Ooh.
And they have a little mini toolbox for $10. And I was like, well, that'd be perfect to put on the workbench at the office. Maybe I'll put one on the desk at home. And so I went to Harbor Freight and I was like, hey, I saw you guys had these for sale. Where are they at? And he goes, oh, we had them on the floor, but we sold like 50 of them within like 10 minutes. And so we got told by corporate that we had to wait until Friday to sell them. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not coming out Friday. So
yeah, that's.
I guess I'll wait to see if they're available Saturday.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Hard
good.
pass.
I don't need a mini toolbox that bad.
You know what I got a really good deal on? I got a really good deal on some Milwaukee batteries and DeWalt batteries. Like they were almost pretty much like half price. And those are expensive.
They are very expensive. You usually buy like the multi-packs and stuff too around this time for pretty cheap.
Yeah, so I got a bunch of 5 amps and a couple 8 amps, and yeah, they're good prices.
Yeah, I got the Milwaukee, they released a new M18 battery, the Forge series. And Home Depot had, I think it was like a 6 amp and a 4 amp for like $150. And so I picked one of those up, and then I picked up some M12 batteries as well. So
isn't the Home Depot trick with those battery things is you buy like 2 batteries, you get a tool free or something like that? I think
there's a hack too that goes around. So a lot of times with Milwaukee, and I assume other tools as well, but I only buy Milwaukee. So they all have some kind of buy a battery, get a tool free, buy a tool, get another battery or tool free. Home Depot is notorious for having deals like that and allowing you to return different pieces of the purchase packs. And so a lot of times what people do is they'll get the tool and they get the free tool or the battery or whatever, but then they go and replace the tool or return the tool, and they get a portion of the money back because the way it stacks up is it discounts each item. And so you buy the one item for $66.79 and the other item for $66.79, and that equals up the sale price. So there's all kinds of different ways you can get some cheap tools out there.
Yeah, I'll put a link to an article that explains all of this confusing mess. I am not. Oh my gosh, there's like equations.
Oh yeah,
this is crazy. People are insane. This honestly, is why I just go to the store and just buy what I need when I need it. I don't bother with this. Wow.
What I do to save money on tools is like unless I'm buying something like really high end, like I bought like an SDS hammer drill. I wouldn't bought that brand new. But a lot of times what I do now is I'll buy the batteries brand new, but then I'll buy the tools on like eBay or something. And they sell the bare tools because people do the same thing. They'll buy a pack of tools, but they don't need all of the tools in the pack or whatever. And so they'll sell the bare tool for like $80, $100, $150, and it's half off almost. So that's always a good option if you already have a lot of batteries.
And what I've been doing is I monitor the sales using Camel on Amazon. And usually I just get the tool itself for very cheap when it drops in price. And then same idea, because I have enough batteries as it is. So sometimes I just need the tool.
Yeah. My goal is just not to have the tool, not do the work. So This looks like it works with DeWalt. It says Flex 20 volt max and flexible. The Milwaukee M12, M18, the Makita 18 volt rigid, and Ryobi. So that's pretty much everything over at Home Depot. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty extensive. And there's like subreddits dedicated to it and trade groups and all kinds of stuff. So
there you go. I just happened to see that. Maybe it's an article or a YouTube video or something. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Hey, speaking of interesting articles, did you guys pick up your Wall Street Journal off your stoop of your front porch, open it up, and see friend of the show, Jimmy Hawkins in there? Did you see that?
I did.
Friend of the show, Jimmy, was in the Wall Street Journal talking about, oh, here's the article. Why do smart appliances continue to be so dumb? And, for the most part, that's pretty true. I think that for the most part, the appliances are pretty not great. I have a washer and dryer that supposedly hook up to my phone. I think I attempted it once and it was like, no, the iOS app doesn't work and you probably need to download the Android app. And I'm like, that's not how this works. And I just never, why would I do that? Why would I need to connect my washer to my phone? I don't know.
And I think that's what Jimmy was saying in the article. Like everything they quoted Jimmy on in that article is stuff that I totally agree with, like why do I need any smart controls with my microwave when I'm standing in front of it? I could just open it myself, right? Like it made so much sense. Like that's exactly how I feel. Like there's certain smart features you want, like the notification of when your dryer's done or washer's done. That's it. But we don't like in the article again, we don't need to start it. I could say start it 2 hours from now and walk away, but you don't need a smart subscription for that. That's built into my dumb dishwasher right now. I can start it 4 hours from now. Right. So I think they're just adding smarts to product just to say it's smart because I'll give you an example. My Nespresso machine, it's a smart Nespresso machine, but what does it really do? Like I loaded it in the app and all they do in the app is send me ads now to buy pods. Right. The only time I got other notification was when it ran out of water. I'm standing right in front of you. I know you're out of water. I thought someone was texting me. It's getting a little dumb. I'm waiting for them to add AI next.
They will. Yeah.
What they really need is sensors in there to like if I buy a gas oven, right? I need a sensor in there to detect a gas leak from behind the stove.
Exactly.
Or I need to be able to detect weird things with power, like if it gets a short or something like that. Notify me for stuff like that. But a lot of stuff like this is restricted anyway. Like your oven, you can't necessarily, in some circumstances, use your voice to control it anyway or to turn it on. You have to use the app anyway. And it's like, okay, but just like you guys are saying, do I really want to do that when I could just walk over to it?
Exactly. And you brought up a good point there, the sensor, that is such, in the Nespresso machine, if they had built that, the other day I went downstairs to my kitchen and I had water all over my counter. And I found out that the container in the back leaked. And it's a stupid design because it kind of mounts on top. It has a little gasket. And if you don't put it properly, it will leak. And, I contacted them and they're like, are you sure you put it on properly? And I'm like, okay, I must, but if it had a sensor in it, a smart sensor, and it detected it was leaking, that would have been nice to notify me, hey, the machine's leaking. So now what I have is I have a little Quara sensor sitting next to it. And I bought a little tray that holds just enough water that comes out of there. And that's how I had to get around it now. But that's something they could have built in.
Give me that smart appliances.
There's another interior designer, custom cabinet maker, Vince Winterag, quote in here. He said he had a client who wanted high-end appliances without Wi-Fi in a remodeled home. It took him months to locate the brands that didn't have it. Found a few individual appliances, not what you'd expect, kind of like something over here from Speed Queen, something over here from Blue Star, something over from Wolf. But he's quoted here, I haven't found a single client who's excited for looking for Wi-Fi connectivity for appliances. There you go.
And it's true.
It's so true.
It's true.
Yeah.
I just I don't think they've made the case where there's one mention of smart vacuums, and I think the smart vacuums have definitely done well, and they've gotten better. And only recently have they gotten good enough where I'm like, okay, yeah, I probably need to have one. I do have one now. But in the past, they weren't compelling enough to buy, right? In the past, it was just run and bump and then get stuck. Yeah.
And once they started doing mapping, they got it made it much better.
But how long? I mean, I had a an electric or robotic vacuum, one of the old Roombas off of, what was that website? Woot. That's what it was. Woot.com.
Oh, Woot, yeah.
Yeah, you could get like the deals there every now and then, and you could buy a robot vacuum for a Roomba for like $100 or $200 or something every now and then. And I think we got one of those deals, and it was a piece of garbage. It's just a pain to ever deal with. But from now to then, like now, I actually like my Wi-Fi connected smart vacuum versus like what they were trying to do before. Maybe we just need another 10, 15 years of smart appliances trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, and then they'll have these sensors you guys are talking about. They'll have leak detectors built into themselves, all that stuff. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, I think sensors is the way to go to win people over, because things like a lot of people are building fridge or adding fridge sensors to detect when your freezer is broken and not, save the stuff that's frozen. If they built that in, that's that I would be excited for that. It's like, yes, give me those kind of safety sensors. Let me know. I don't care if you want to let me know when you think my fridge or my furnace needs to be serviced. You can add that too if you want, right? But give me the sensors.
No, I'm just going to nag you to replace your water filter in the refrigerator because you need that so badly. All right. Well, it's a fun article. It's cool to see somebody we know in the mainstream news, I guess.
Jimmy's famous,
and it's not for a crime or anything. He actually was legitimately reported on.
It wasn't his pooping video either. I thought it was going to be the bidet video or something, but it wasn't even that one.
They did mention the bidet though, but they didn't go into details.
They didn't show it for some reason.
No, that's lame reporting, I think. I don't know. It's a pretty good story.
Lamestream news.
Lamestream, yeah. That's why you're here. Well, we've got our own news. We've got a bunch of HomeTech headlines this week. So what do you say we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, first, we got to talk about this UniFi port. We knew about, there was some rumors about floating around about this little device that was mentioned at some, I don't know, a UniFi conference or something in Miami or something. And there's some details that were leaked on Reddit, and they were talking about a device that was going to enable AI for third-party cameras, and that they've been allowing to be integrated into the NVRs. And this is kind of like the holy grail, right? We want this little box. We're going to put it right next to our NVR. It's going to take the video feeds. It's going to look at all the recordings and pull out the people or the pets and animals walking around, the package delivery on third-party cameras. And we'll actually have really nice cameras integrated with OnVIF into our UniFi, and with this one little box, and we'll get the AI events off of it too. And UniFi delivered. And if you go to their website, there's a thing under special devices called the AI port. And this little device is for one camera. You plug one camera into it, and it'll enable AI. And what was the price on this thing? $299? Something crazy like that?
$200. $199.
$199. All right. It's $299 Canadian, probably.
It's $399 Canadian, probably.
Are they crazy? This is no. Be careful what you wish for, I guess. But no, it's not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it was at Ubiquity World Conference, which is in Miami, that a lot of people, or I guess they got told about this device. But there's also a rack mount option as well. The rack mount option has not been announced. We can only assume that it's going to be like $1 million because how many cameras is it going to support? If it supports 4 cameras, that's $800, I guess. I don't know. This is crazy price though. I'm used to Synology. Synology charges you $50 camera licenses, which a lot of people always bellyached about because it's like they're $50. You're going to charge me $50 to use my own camera with my own Synology unit. And I never thought it was that bad. I was like, you get 2 or 4 licenses with it anyway, and unless you're doing a big system, it's a couple $100 in licenses. This is crazy though, because I would have to have $1,000 if I wanted to bring all of my external cameras into Ubiquity with AI and stuff. I'd have to have $1,000 added onto my cameras.
Well, and what sucks is the cameras already have the AI built into them, and it works better than this.
Yes,
back to Blue Iris, guys. Back to Blue Iris.
No, it's not that bad.
Welcome back, boys. You thought you could get away, but
nope.
Blue Iris is only $60 a year. So yeah, welcome back. Well, when you're ready, let me know when you need some help. But looking at this, it's a great idea. And I was talking to you earlier, and I think they kind of had something similar in their old product. The Theta.
Yeah.
Where they had a little box that connected to the camera and stuff. It's very similar. The way I look at the pricing is, I mean, they're making you think, hey, I can add this or I'll replace that camera for probably more money. Right. So, I mean, when you think of it like that, you probably just will add this on. It only works. I think it only works with PoE cameras and stuff too. I can't remember. So there's some limitations. And I don't know, like Seth, you said this, I was thinking this too, is why don't they just allow the on-VIF events? Because a lot of our cameras already have this stuff built in and just send the events over. But I guess this is their way of, like one, standardizing the messages that go back to UniFi's Protect, or making money off of it, right? So I guess that's what they're looking to do. The good thing is you won't need one of these for all your cameras though. I mean, in my setup, I would probably need this only on maybe 4 cameras out of my 11, but that's still a lot of money at that point.
Yeah, I think I would only really need it on like 1 or 2 of my 5 cameras. I mean, like my doorbell pretty much covers the front yard, and then I could put like my driveway, and then my backyard's surrounded by gates, or a fence, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm interested to see how much the rack mount version costs. I hope it's more reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm hoping that they invent an NVR that can have the stuff built into it all in one, or figure out how to take the on-VIF events and bring those into it really looked like they have like this new event. I don't forget what it's called, like Event Center or something, where you can basically take events and plug webhooks or, other things into it. And it really felt like that's what they were going to use. Like when those events come in, you can just kind of filter them out and take what you want and move it over and do whatever. Like you want to tag that video here, you can tag it here. Maybe that makes it just as hard to use as Blue Iris. I don't know. But it seems like at least you could do it, and it kind of makes up for the I'm going to say at this point, the pretty horrible quality of the UniFi cameras. Like they're not great. Like TJ, you've been complaining about it for years. Like the video is meh quality, and you can do a lot better for a lot less. With some of these other third-party cameras. I'm not saying that Ubiquiti needs to go that direction, but it would. I was looking at their camera lineup last night. And they've got some things that are kind of compelling when you consider like how easy and turnkey it is. Like you just put it in, you plug it in, it identifies, you tap a button, and you're good to go. That versus jumping through hoops. If I'm looking at it as like a professional installer or somebody who installs cameras, I'm going with the UniFi cameras every single time. I'm not dealing with these on-VIF events. I'm not dealing with these flaky cameras. I'm not dealing with, on-VIF video streaming not working correctly. No, I'm going to install the UniFi cameras, and it's just going to work every time. But if I want to like get in there and tinker with this stuff and install like different cameras that work really well or work better for my application than the like 3 cameras that they have that handle the entire lineup, yeah, there's got to be a way that you can use it. I mean, their software is so good. Like, just charge for that. Like you said, TJ, $50 a camera is better than $200 for this slap-on device. That like, just charge $50 a camera. Like,
I would even go 100. I mean, I think 100 is like even reasonable, honestly. And maybe they'll drop the price. They've adjusted prices after product releases before. I don't really see this one adjusting though. But
no, I don't either.
I think $100 is more reasonable. $200 though, I don't think is reasonable at all. It's way out of.
I was saying $50 to activate an on-VIF stream and with all the events and stuff that come off of it. Like, let me get in there and just charge $50 a camera. I guarantee they make coin off that. Like, there are plenty of people who would just, oh yeah, I want that $50 license for like 6 cameras on my system. Boom. That's, that's money that they didn't have yesterday. And, they'll be able to make a nice interface around that in their little event center thing that they've come up with. Anyway.
Dang it. Good Ubiquiti.
Make it happen, Ubiquiti. I don't know. I'm holding off. I'm not excited at all about this. I would venture to say that I would look other directions at this point. Like, not that there's any other direction to look except for Blue Iris, but
well, you got Scripted, and then you have Frigate as well, which are decent options.
You're mentioning YAML stuff now. Like, are you really want to get involved?
I think I'd rather touch YAML than Blue Iris, though.
I found out is that the AI models really know how to write YAML really well, Gavin. So I'm gonna head that direction too.
I can find YouTube videos on YAML. You can't really find good YouTube videos on Blue Iris.
Blue Iris, no.
It's so boring.
Oh man, I'm looking at their app right now on the
hurts.
Hero Shot on their website. It's rough, guys.
I can't expose my family to that terrible app.
Well, the iPhone app you get used to. You get used to it.
It's like beer. You just get used to the taste.
You get used to it.
Just keep drinking it. You'll be fine.
It's like you lost both your legs in that car accident. You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. like
nobody should have to
it's
suffer
not
through terrible
that
software.
bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, but you say that with an IT background. We don't have to deal with us normies. Don't have to deal with terrible design software anymore.
Just wait till you get into. I've played around with scripted. I've played around with Frigate. You're gonna get into You're gonna push to the limits of that. When you start hitting your CPU and stuff like that, it's gonna start to hurt you, and it's just gonna be more frustrating at some point.
Yeah,
they don't even have apps. Like I don't think scripted does. Frigate,
well, scripted you just import into HomeKit, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, so unless you're porting it into HomeKit, but if you're using, if you're using Home Assistant and you're using that, then the streams, I found the streams in Home Assistant, there's something buggy with them. It's like they don't let them go. So if you open multiple cameras at a time, then your Home Assistant just cuts off for a couple minutes.
See, I could never even get Blue Iris to work with Home Assistant anyway. So,
well, you see, and that's why you can talk to me, because I have scripts, I have everything. It's nicely integrated for me.
Nah. Just turn the server off. Just go ahead and unplug it. See, and that's my thing, right? So I guess the whole transition has kind of made me realize I don't really need motion notification on every camera. I have it on the doorbell, and that notifies me whenever somebody comes up to the front of the house, basically. And it gets a pretty wide view of it. The only time I don't get notified is the driveway currently. But I don't really need notifications on every other camera. It's really just there to see what's going on at the moment. And if I need to go back to a specific time, I can. But like nobody's like accessing half of my house all the time, so I don't need to worry about it.
I ran across another one. I think it's Shinobi. I think we talked about it before.
Shinobi.
Yeah, let's not go down this rabbit hole again.
Yeah, we don't need to go down this rabbit hole.
Every time we do this, you come up with 5 to 10 products that you're all excited for, and then you just reinstall Blue Iris. Like, we don't need to go down this again.
Nobody installs
Blue Iris. I haven't installed Blue Iris.
Well, because you're happy with the UniFi setup. I think you're on the UniFi now, right? So
yeah, I'm actually running UniFi and the what's it called? I have a UniView NVR too. Just like
yeah.
That's not great. It is what it is.
Better.
Standard Chinese one.
I think their stuff is best out of like all the NVRs. It's not great, but
yeah. I mean,
none of the other ones are great either. So
you get stabbed in the eye just like you do with Blue Iris, I guess.
It's not as bad as Blue Iris though.
Anyway, that's that. We'll definitely come back and loop around to these NVR solutions. Somebody's going to come out with one day, and it's going to be really nice.
That's right.
That doesn't add $200 per camera for AI. That's ridiculous.
Or Ubiquiti could just come out with a good camera. I mean, all they got to do is release a good camera.
They could absolutely come out. And to their credit, they have a bunch of new stuff on their website these days. Like,
oh yeah,
they have been releasing product left and right, and it's kind of interesting that how much stuff new stuff has been coming out. Trying to remember what one of them was. I saw there's like a G4. I think they had the G4 cameras. They had a turret that came out recently. Maybe that's not that recently, but like it seemed like it was a new product. Some nice stuff. The Enterprise NVR stuff new. There was a little new tab. I think it's been replaced by a Black Friday tab at this point. But like it's been nice to see some of the new products they've been coming out with. So yay, maybe they'll have some new cameras coming out one of these days. I know what I ran across. I ran across that $299 PTZ camera. I was like, oh, it's back in stock, and I was looking at it, and I was like, yeah, it's got AI built into it. I'm like, I should get one of these. And then I woke up the next morning and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go get one of those. $299 for a PTZ? That's not bad. And I went and it's sold out again. So I can't buy those. They never come back in stock.
I was just looking at their website again. I don't remember seeing this AI turret camera.
That's the one I'm talking about. It's a G4.
That's what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not G4. It just says AI turret.
Oh, okay.
It's $500.
So, yeah, $499, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at those the other day, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the video is going to look like on it. Typically for $499, it's not going to perform as well as I want it to, but at least it has the AI stuff built into it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the G5 PTZ, $299. Looks like it's back in stock. Oh, no, I'm not going to buy it. Who am I kidding?
You don't need a Seth.
It looks like so much fun, though. It's got so many different mounts and everything.
Oh, Seth, I do have the camera. You should buy it. Speaking of Ubiquity, they have their Black Friday sale right now. Probably be over by the time the show's over. But they have a AI DSLR camera, normally $2,500, only $999. Seth.
This is the one you have to buy the Canon lens and shove it in there too. Yeah,
it's like a huge assembly here.
Give me a break. It's that. I mean, you'll get that. At least if you get that, you don't have to buy the $200 AI add-on thing.
That's true.
So you're actually saving money, right? Is that how it works? $1,000 for a camera that you can slap a Canon lens into. The PTZ does look pretty nice, though. Gotta admit. I'm not gonna buy it.
Don't buy it. Don't buy
it. Google has reportedly canceled the development of second generation Pixel tablet already, making another retreat from the tablet market. The move suggests that the original Pixel tablet released last year may remain a standalone effort due to poor sales. Previously, Google had announced plans for a Pixel Tablet 3, but those have also been shelved. Yet another product that looks really cool. I really like this. The Pixel tablet had like a speaker dock that you could just pick it up off of. When you put it down on the speaker dock, it turned into like a nice little smart home speaker type thing. You could play music out of it. It had like a dashboard for your home on it. Great ideas. And now they have canceled it. Abandoned by Google.
Yeah, I really like this. I considered buying it, but I really wanted a larger screen at the time. I like the fact that you could pick it up and just take it with you kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like the iPorts that we used to do as like a professional integrator all the time. I don't really do those anymore. Most people just have a phone. But those were always really cool, but they're very expensive. I mean, it was like $150 or $200 for the case at least, then $200 for the charging stand. Yeah. And then you throw a $300 iPad or $400 iPad in there. So you're already at like $1,000.
It was very Apple-y of them, right? Like I would expect this from Apple and then people would buy it. But it's like, it's really smart. I love everything about this. It's a great product.
But it's funny timing because we were talking about in the Slack channel the other day, or the Slack group the other day. I was like, man, I really wish Google would release a larger screen like Amazon has. Amazon has those 15 and 21 inch giant Fire TV Echo Show displays, whatever they're calling them these days. And I really want that for Google, but it looks like that'll probably never happen.
Killed by Google.
What a surprise.
Yeah. Well, The Verge has reached out. Hopefully this rumor is not true, but as we know, it's probably true. All right. Well, we do have some new products here. We've got Lafer has announced a LWR01. It's a matter over thread presence sensor that offers battery powered option using two AA batteries alongside USB-C port for power. This one has this is mmWave presence sensor that we're kind of like we're always talking about, but battery powered. There you go. You can use it both ways. Doesn't matter. It looks better than some of the other ones I've seen. Like it looks more like a traditional security system thing. Even if you had to power it with a cord, you could probably hide the cord in the wall or whatever, and power it that way. Or you could just use the two AA batteries.
Yeah, I like this. And mmWave is the one thing that actually makes sense in a lot of the home setup now. It works so well. However, I do like the devices that have the PIR sensor built in as well. Mm. And my main reason why is mmWave can see through walls and takes a lot of tweaking to not pick up things outside the wall. Or with the PIR, it triggers as soon when you walk into the room. You won't be walking by the room. You can walk into the room and then it will trigger it. And then the mmWave then kicks in at that point and then monitors you. So I kind of prefer if they had the mmWave and the PIR because I've positioned some of my sensors so that the walls actually blocking it from looking certain directions. So, as soon as I walk into the closet, it turns on, for example, right? Things like that. So, and that also helps to save battery life. So I'm wondering if they kind of figured out the magic sauce here with the battery life, or is this going to be every 4 months you have to change those batteries too? Or they went with AA, so maybe it's a little more powerful.
I was scrolling through this article over here at what is this HomeKit news and reviews, and they have a link to one of their videos on the LiveSmart one. Do you guys see that? The little like flush mount one?
Yeah, so I have a version of this. I bought it on AliExpress and it's mains powered, and so I never got around to installing it.
Oh wow!
But I really like the idea of the ceiling mounted one. I just couldn't figure out how to like install in like a code compliant and nice looking way.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the same way, but it looks like the exact same thing. The little prongs that were like orange or something, but it looks similar.
Is that really mains powered?
Yeah.
The one I had was, yes.
Wow. Okay.
I think they have different versions, but the one I had was literally just, and it wasn't like an electrical box or anything like that. It was literally just you hook your power wires to it and that's it.
Right. Yeah. It looks like the way that it looks like it installs is like you cut a hole and shove it on. Yeah. You got to have an electrical box, guys. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
I was like, I can't install that in my house.
No, not going to happen.
And the one thing to take into consideration with those ceiling mounted ones is the range, right? Like I found they had a very narrow range for detection too. It pointed straight down from the ceiling. Whereas when you mount something on a wall, it has a much further range, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like how far, it's more like how wide, if I'm explaining it right.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need multiple of these to cover a room, for example. Whereas if you had something mounted in the corner, it could cover the whole room by itself.
That's true. All right. Well, it's nice to see so many different options, I guess, presented. And the like this little one that we're talking about, the new from Lafair. I don't know. That one, the LW, whatever. It looks like a motion sensor. You could stick that in the corner, no problem, or somewhere. And nobody's going to think anything different from that being a motion detector versus a presence sensor. Like nobody's going to know. It's going to be a security device up in the corner.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to know.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it does. They're getting close. They're getting close.
I could see this in a fancy person's house, like Richard. Richard have this in his house.
There you go. LWR01. I didn't see any pricing on it, but yeah, it looks nice. All right. We've also got MyiBlinds launching 3 new HomeKit devices. I really don't know how to pronounce these devices, these companies sometimes, but this is kind of Gavin has been putting European news in our feeds here because you know. We got to cover them sometimes.
Well, when we were mailing out all the stickers, you saw how many people were in Europe, right? So
that's true.
I've been following European news, and they have some good products up there that I wished we had over here. So it's worth it.
Well, they've got 3 new products coming out: a smart roller shutter belt winder, which I thought I could use. Turns out not. This thing is massive, and I guess very dedicated towards the European market. Second, there's an outdoor plug that has energy monitoring, IP44 waterproof rating. It's funny because it doesn't look anything like our outdoor plugs. Like it's got the big European outlets on them with the weatherproof coverings on them. And third, they have a smart temperature and humidity sensor, which includes light detection and dew point temperature metrics built into it. All really cool. All really nice little products. Also, the humidity sensor has a 7.3 LED screen in it as well. So all these products look actually pretty nice. Especially the belt winding shade roller thing.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't either. But look how it installs. It like goes right on into the wall. Like isn't that wild?
That is wild. That's pretty cool.
I actually like how they did that, like because it gives it a clean look, mm-hmm. But you have to cut a little hole in the wall. You could slide it in, but then you got that clean look, and I like that.
We just have strings at my house. Strings.
No, we don't even have strings. They're illegal now, Seth. You can't buy them now.
You can't?
I'm pretty sure in the U.S. you're not allowed to buy curtains and stuff with ropes anymore.
Oh, thanks, Ohio.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a thing in Canada too. I'm pretty sure Canada passed it first, and then America adopted it.
Don't blame us. Like
I
seriously.
am.
You keep blaming Canada for stuff.
I mean, it's all your fault.
We blame Ohio.
Yeah, I know. That's why I blame Canada for everything. But I'm pretty sure that was a thing that was passed last year, this year. Something about you cannot use blinds with cords anymore because they are choking hazards for kids. They can strangle themselves.
Yeah, if you're in the market for window coverings, you will not find corded blinds anymore. Interesting. Did not know that. Now I do.
Well, you know how we get around that. We need smart kids now.
Smart kids.
Yes.
You got to pay for that upgrade.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Canada passed that first.
Yeah, I remember when I installed them, there were all sorts of little warnings about cutting them to the right length, and they give you like little hardware to like attach the cables on into the right spot when you're not using them. So yeah,
because you have to secure them and everything.
Yep.
Oh, you're right, TJ. I found the article, while we're recording. May 1st, 2022, there's new regulations.
Yeah, see, guys, I sell smart blinds. I know things.
In Canada. Oh.
Well, I got to get rid of these illegal blinds, and I'll just upgrade them to having, smarts inside of them or something else. So
that's the advantage of installing smart blinds. Mine doesn't have cords anyway. So
I'll tell my wife, man, we got to get rid of these. These are bad
dangerous
for our health. Yeah, they're dangerous. They're going to kill our daughter. Like, we just got to get rid of this.
More dangerous than this Govee space heater.
Yeah, there you go.
I went to a client's house today. They will remain anonymous, but they said they're going to keep their Govee space heater. They said, you recommended this thing, and I really like it.
Rebels.
And I don't want to give it up. And I was like, just don't tell me if your house burns down.
And that's why we carry arrows and emissions insurance or whatever.
I didn't install it or anything, so it's not my fault anyway. I told her about it verbally, and that's it. And I told them about it.
That's funny. All right. Well, new products from Miros for the European market. Good deal there. And we got a little bit of business news for the integration pros out there. Yeah. This is from CE Pro. Integrators are praising D-Tools payments solution that's been integrated into D-Tools Cloud for efficiency and customer satisfaction benefits. I think this is a newer product. They kind of released it in beta a couple months ago on D-Tools Cloud, where if you make a quote, you can send it over to the client and they can just click pay and take payments right through that. And it kind of just pays you into your bank. I think you can use Stripe or PayPal or some other. They have like 5 or 6 other payment processors that if you're set up with them, you can use. I thought it was pretty nice. It's always, people don't realize this, but like, I don't know, even a lot of business owners. My roofer sent me an invoice for some of the roof damage we had to repair, and I'm like, he sent me a PDF. I'm like, how do I pay this? And I went back and I looked at the email, and it was like, you can find the address on the invoice that you can mail your payment to. I'm like, how do I mail you my credit card? Like, how does this work?
Do you send it back to me?
Yeah. So
I photocopy it?
I'm going to have to call him and find out what to do here. But it's like, it's real easy to set up payments, online payments, and the lower friction you make, the faster you get paid is really what it comes down to.
Yes.
So this is a good thing. And if you're not using D-Tools Cloud and you're like a single person shop, you can actually use it for free. That's kind of nice too.
I would look more into it. I like D-Tools. I like the design software and everything like that, and how you can auto import parts. But I need scheduling software too.
Yeah.
That's my hang up right now. So
they do have a service module that they have built into it, but I think once you do that, you have to pay for the paid version of D-Tools Cloud, which isn't terribly much. It's it's a pro software, niche software thing. So it's a few $100 a month, but, I understand. I think if you also look into Zoho and the Zoho One Suite, you can get the service manager built into that as well. And you can do pretty much all this stuff and run a service business for $29 a month. So yay. All good stuff. Anyway, all the links and topics discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/507. All right, we do have an interview this week. Two co-founders from over at Apollo Automation, Justin Bunton and Trevor Schirmer. We had a great conversation with these guys about all the stuff they're doing over at Apollo, using the power of ESP Home to integrate some smart devices back into Home Assistant, and kind of all of the really interesting things that they've done over the years to, it's like a little startup of a company, to kind of like put things together. And like they started off with a sensor that they kind of put together, showed a few people, and they said, oh yeah, we were going to sell like maybe 100 of these, and they sold a few thousand of them. And there goes the business. So really cool interview. Let's just go ahead and jump in and chat with Justin and Trevor, and we'll come back on the other side and chat a little bit more about some of the stuff that we chatted about when we finished recording. It was really good stuff. So we probably should just leave the recorder on for much longer. Justin, Trevor, thanks for joining us on the show.
Oh, thank you, Neil. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
We want to jump into the products and everything here in a minute, but like what we always ask first is kind of like give us a personal introduction about yourself, kind of like what your background is, what made you want to get started in this industry.
Yeah, so to start off, I'm Trevor, one of the co-founders of Apollo Automation, and we've got
I'm Justin, the other co-founder.
Yeah, so just general about Apollo, we started a year ago. It started because as a side project, we were wanting to just make a mmWave sensor that combined a whole bunch of functionality, so we didn't have to buy multiple different sensors. So we built it just as a fun project, and then some people on Reddit were like, "Hey, like we want that as well. We would like to buy that." And so we're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. We'll form a little company and maybe we'll sell 100 of them and be happy." And 100 turned into 1,000 really quick and continues to grow all the time. So we kind of happened into it. It's been a blast. We're a long time Home Assistant users, active in the community, and it's really, really a cool thing to be doing. I run most of the product development and the tech side of it, and Justin runs the community and manufacturing and all of that.
Excellent. We'll touch on that just real quick. I mean, you mentioned Home Assistant, and most of the devices, or if not all the devices, run on ESP Home. So they're running the Espressif chips and using the ESP Home firmware to bring that right into Home Assistant easily.
Correct. It's an incredible project that I think Jesse started a while ago that is now part of the Open Home Foundation and all of that. It's incredible to allow us to easily put some code onto some ESP chips, and they have a lot of the libraries already built out for it. So which it allows very easy adoption into Home Assistant. It's a 3-step process. You plug your sensor into power. It shows a little hotspot that you connect to. You put in the Wi-Fi information, and then it instantly shows up on Home Assistant for you. So it's a really cool process, and they're making improvements to it all the time. We can now do over-the-air updates through a really easy method in Home Assistant, which is a really nice thing to offer to people.
And I have to admit, when it comes to the ESP home stuff, like I dabbled in it a bit and I quickly got frustrated. I really lost everything with it. I still have a whole box of electronics sitting there that probably should just send them to you and ask you to do it for me. But when I got these devices, I have to admit, it was so easy to set up. That's why I just want to mention this. It was so easy that, I started appreciating it more because like you said, I just put in the Wi-Fi and it showed up in Home Assistant and I didn't have to edit any YAML or do any of this other stuff. Like it brought me back to ESP home stuff again, but I'm not making my own.
Yeah. I mean, I think really was the intention was ESP Home allowed, home DIYers to, take their Arduino dev boards and connect some stuff and then write their own YAML to put onto them. It's really cool. We talk with Jesse and the ESP Home team pretty frequently. It's really cool how they've been supportive of us coming in and saying, okay, well, we'll pre-make the devices. Custom PCBs and things like that. So we can really shrink it down and make it in a really nice package. We'll pre-flash them with the software, and a user, like you were saying, could never touch the YAML. They, integrate our device through those 3 simple steps, and it just works in Home Assistant. If they want to take it a step further, our code is open source, and ESP Home gives you the ability to edit that code. So you can make our devices do, extra things that you would like to them. It's really a neat offering.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. I mean, I find it funny when I have more. I have a lot more today than I used to, but I kind of live in the pro world of the CEDIA world of consumer electronics, and so I have a bunch of those devices around. But if I do a network scan, the Espressif chips come up all over now.
Yeah,
they're everywhere, and it's amazing to see like those. How many have just kind of filtered in, even through pro products, that are running on that particular platform. They're everywhere. They're in all of, I think, Wise or Govee. They all have that running inside as well.
Yeah, they're so versatile. I mean, the C6 can do Thread and can do Zigbee and Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there's a lot. They're very powerful.
I even think my ice machine, which we joked about me ripping the brain out of it, had one running in it. I collect them like at this point. Like I just like find the little boards and I like pull them out and I'm like, oh, that's neat. Look what they did. Anyway, that kind of gets us a little sidetracked there. But you mentioned your first product out of the gate was a mmWave sensor. I'm on the website now. Looks like you guys have a lot more than that. I guess go ahead and go over what products you do have and just say a little bit something about each one of them.
Yeah. So we have the MSR1, which was our first sensor. We touched on that a little bit, but we had a lot of community feedback, and then we ended up coming out with the MSR2 a few months afterwards. And we made it smaller, and we talked about it earlier, but it has mmWave functionality, presence detection. It uses the LD2410B. So it's really nice that you can fine tune it using the radar engineering mode, but it also does temperature and pressure, and it does lux and UV. It has the onboard piezo buzzer that you can play RTTL tunes on. It has the addressable RGB LED, and it has mezzanine ports that we use. It's kind of like Legos, but we have a SCD40 CO2 sensor module that you can add on to it. We do sell it with the add-on pre-installed, or you can add it on retroactively. But you get temperature and humidity from that as well. It's a real NDIR photoacoustic CO2 sensor. So it's not an eCO2, it's actually a real CO2. And we have the pressure from the DPS 310 feed into that to make sure that it stays accurate. So that's kind of the MSR2. It's very tiny. I know Gavin has it, but like compared to anything else, I don't think there's much on the market that's close to the size.
No.
Like if I had to compare it in size, just for the listeners, if you have the Zeus contact sensor, I guess it's similar to maybe that size, just a little thicker. So there you go.
They have a quarter. They have a picture of it next to a quarter on the website too. So if you have a quarter, more people might have a quarter.
It's a really good size.
Yeah, it's very good size, very small, very, very good for the spouse approval factor. That's a big thing in the community. You can hide it. People are recessing them behind, like in gang boxes, and ceiling mounting them. You guys joked, I think, on the last podcast that just having it out in the open, it's small enough to where you don't really notice it. And we offer a module that you can attach to the back. That it's a rear female USB-C attachment, so you can actually plug it in from the back versus the onboard side port. So you can kind of hide it that way. And then we offer outlet mounts. So one of the big asks from the community was, we don't want to put it on the wall and have a cable running to it. So we have a USB-C, the USB-C male-to-male mount that actually will go directly in to the outlet, and it actually just lets it sit on top of it. And then we also have just rear male mounts that will allow you to plug it directly into an outlet. So most outlets now, you're seeing them with USB-A or USB-C. So the mounting options are really cool as well. And Gavin, I think I sent both of them to you.
Yes. And what I was even playing around with, and this is what I find cool too, is I can actually design my own case and mount for the sensor and do whatever I want. I have my 3D printer sitting right here, so that's, for somebody that's interested in doing that, that's a very easy thing to do.
Exactly.
What I like about your website too, though, is that you do have all those options. I think that's a really smart idea, because there's so many times that I want to buy a sensor or something and I want to put it on an outlet, or I want to put it somewhere specific, and you can't because there's no other mounting options available for it. And I think that's one of the smartest things about your website, is that you do have those all those tons of different options available.
Exactly. We're community driven, and that was from community feedback. And just real quick, all of our 3D files are open as well, open source. They're on printables. So if you guys want to, like Gavin was saying, you can remix everything. We want the community to remix and make stuff better.
I have a question about mmWave in general. I mean, we've talked about it on the show a number of times, and I think I have just the FP2, and I have some of the, I forget what these are called.
Everything Home one, Everything Presence one. Yep.
Yeah,
they're giant. I haven't really figured out. These are small. I could probably hide these around the house. What do you find for okay, I'm very familiar because I come from a security background with PIRs or motion sensors, right? And I understand how those work. They have these little lanes, and basically when body heat or heat in general, because it can be heat from a window or the sun, crosses those lanes, that will trigger the motion sensor off. But if you stand very, very still, or if you walk straight directly at the motion sensor and don't cross two lanes, you can get pretty close to it before it goes off. That's how those work. mmWave is a little bit different. Can you kind of go over a little bit of what the spread pattern is on something like mmWave? We've talked about it kind of punching through walls and seeing other people in other rooms and having false detections or ghost detections and that kind of things on them. What are your experiences? Like, what are your recommendations when it comes to millimeter wave? Like, where should I be putting it? Where should I be hiding these things in the room? And what do you have available for eliminating some of those false positives?
Yeah. And maybe the best place to just say to start is there are multiple millimeter wave sensors out there that have pluses and minuses to all the differences. Most of them are made by HLK, and they're producing, they have 20 different millimeter wave modules that have different characteristics. So in the MSR2, in the MSR1, it has this one called an LD2410. And it's incredible at still detection. So that's if you're sitting really still, sleeping, sitting on the couch, whatever, it has very good accuracy of connecting and seeing your chest moving from breathing and where you're at in the room. So yeah, it behaves differently than PIR that's looking for your heat signature. So this is looking, it's shooting out little waves that bounce off of you, and then they can measure those movements in that. So the MSR1, MSR2, it has tons of configuration options to help with those, false detections, to tell how sensitive, or we also then have added in some zones, which allow you to detect based off of distance. So say we've got a few examples on our site. Say there's a box fan right in front of your sensor. Like that's going to be triggering it all the time because that fan blade is moving. So we can ignore that close distance and instead just sense out in the further distances looking for a human. Is a really cool feature on them. I'll quickly hit on our other millimeter wave sensor, the MTR1. And so that's the multi-target radar sensor. That's using still millimeter wave, but it's a LD2450. And the big benefit with that one is it'll tell you not just is somebody in the room and how far away are they, but it'll tell you the exact XY coordinates inside of that room of where they're at, which has got some really fun automations of, am I standing at the dishwasher or am I standing at the refrigerator, right? It also does multi-targets. It says 3. We always advocate that it's really 2, unless you're like very clearly have 3 people spread out.
And the zones are user configurable inside its field of view. So most of these have like 120 degrees of view, like 60 kind of, up and down. But the LD2410B, it's like they're distance-based zones and they're user configurable. And the LD2450 on the MTR1 is you can actually use the HLK radar tool app and make squares in its field of view so it's not distance based, which is really nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It sounds just like, it's just like using a motion detector. Like they make a million different kinds of those too. And if you're in the security realm, you have like your go-to that you use in residential, but then if you have commercial or outdoor or something like that, you may have to find something special. Sometimes you need them in the ceiling, that kind of thing. So it sounds like just like that, like you kind of have to know the product, its capabilities, what it can do. And you get on your site, you get to pick which one might be the best for your applications. Like not like really a one size fits all, like I was thinking. Yeah.
The two that we were always keeping an ay on the different millimeter waves that are coming out. The 2 that we've got products for cover, the vast majority of the use cases. Whether you want to know XY coordinates of where you're at in a room and track maybe 2 people, or do you want better still detection? And that's where you'd go with the MSR2. They can be a little more daunting than a PIR sensor that you just put up and it just sees you yes or no. So we've put a pretty extensive work into our tutorials and our wikis to help guide people to say, here's how I configure this to be, a much better presence detection than PIR that can lose you if you're just sitting still.
And I actually got an idea for them from your website that I just want to point out because a lot of people talk about this bed presence detection. Right? On your website, I never thought of this. You just put them under the bed and it shoots upwards and it will be able to detect when you're in the bed. Like I would always put it on the,
really?
Yeah, I would always put it on the wall or something like that, right? But then it would trigger with so many other things. But if you just put it under the bed,
exactly.
And I know people that went the extra distance, they put like pressure pads under the bed to contact sensors and stuff like that. No, this is just so much easier to do. You just stick it under the bed. It shoots up. It will know when you're in the bed. Done.
Yeah, because we use bed pressure sensors for like assisted living facilities and stuff like that, but it would be nice to use this sensor instead.
Yeah, and we didn't hit on it too much there, but PIR has to have field of view of you, whereas millimeter wave, you can put it behind a sheet of drywall and it can see through the drywall to you, just like it can see through a mattress, which it's got some really cool. It can be a negative sometimes if it sees through a wall and sees you on the other side, but you can tune that in the settings. But it does offer some really cool things, yeah, like the bed detection, and there's some cool things that you could do with the data. We did a small test of it when we first released them, which is not only tracking are you in your bed, but tracking your sleep quality. So they'll tell you not only do you see a person, the sensors do, they tell you how much movement energy does that thing have. You know, is it moving around or is it really, really still? And now we I think made an early Reddit post, but that's a pretty cool thing that somebody could dive into, is saying, how much did I toss and turn last night? Right? You know, did I get up out of bed 3 times and I was rolling around? Well, my sleep quality probably wasn't too good. Or did I stay asleep and didn't move all night and the sensor saw very low movement? Then probably I got pretty good sleep. So pretty cool. There's lots of data to play with.
That's very interesting. I never thought of that too. Now I can figure out why I'm waking up with bruises on my arm. What's the wife doing? But once you have all this data, I find you could do so much. You could tell so much from it, and that I'm gonna be playing a bit with that.
I know figuring out millimeter wave is difficult. I know if you follow Eric over at the NFLE forums, they're working on some new millimeter wave switches. And one of their issues they have is that the sensor they've chosen for this batch of products, they don't have any adjustments to them basically, and so they're just going full power and they're detecting people through walls and everything and triggering the light switch. And I think the end game now is that they basically have to redesign the product with a different millimeter wave sensor to solve that problem and give them those configurable zones, because you do need that because it does go everywhere. Motion, like you said, just goes line of sight. You don't really have that problem.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess the latest Linus Tech Tip videos they had, they were showcasing it, and
yeah,
I mean, it was a great video. I love the exposure. If anybody in NFLE wants to reach out to us and if we can help in any way with like the millimeter wave, like we're happy. We're not experts. We're still learning. That's the best part about the community, using the hive mind. But if they need have any questions or need help, we're more than happy.
I think you can answer kind of my next question here is how do you decide to work on next? It sounds like you're pretty community driven. If you have a lot of customers coming to you and saying, hey, can you do this? Or how does this work? You look for a solution there.
Yeah. I mean, we are longtime community Home Assistant users, and we interact very heavily with through our Discord or through Reddit or wherever we can find people about what should we do next? And we've got a product survey that we send out. It's on our website. We send it out in Discord from time to time. That's just saying, hey, what should we do next? You can vote on ideas that we have or add your own. And I mean, that's why we made our air quality sensor, because that was the number one request right then. And then we made our plant sensor based on it as well. So it's a really cool way to see, we look at that list and we say, can we make a difference in this space? Because we don't just want to make the same sensor, the same thing that everybody else is making. Can we come in and make a difference and make a different product? And it's a really cool way to work directly with the community.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a test. Don't look at anything, but your Air Quality 1 sensor, right? I love this sensor. It's so powerful. It measures so much. Can you even remember off the top of your head all the things it measures?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we have enough time.
It's insane. Like you get PM1, PM2.5, PM4, PM10, VOC, and it just goes on and on. And I was amazed at how much information. It's almost too much, but it's good to have too much than not enough, I found, right? And this is definitely a power sensor. When it comes to all these measurements you give, because I found with a lot of sensors, they give you an interpretation of like a lux value. They'll give you 1 to 100, but that's not how you measure it, right? Do you guys use all standard measurements and everything like that? You get what I'm trying to say? That you can use it to compare things?
Yeah. So yeah, they do expose a lot of entities, and I can dig into that some, because it can be overwhelming. You get this sensor and it says, oh, my particulates are this, my VOCs are that. And then we do have people say, okay, well, just tell me what my air quality, like, is that good or is that bad? And for a while, we really tried to stray away from that. We didn't want to impose if your air was good or bad, because it's quite subjective. We wanted to give you the raw data for you to see that. But we've actually had, through the community, some community members have taken it upon themselves to find the generally accepted air quality standards that are pretty widely accepted worldwide for like an AQI score and things like that, and have taken the Air One entities and then use that data to make a couple new entities for air quality. And so we're currently testing those out in a beta program. And we think that that's a really good line of saying, okay, we're not coming up with what's good air. We'll defer to, nation experts or, huge science entities to help give us that data. And then now we can show, okay, what is your air quality is good or bad based on them.
Are there kind of on the same vein of what Gavin was asking too? I know some of these sensors like come with some kind of like calibration. Like I'm more familiar with light levels and that kind of thing. Like you can get a light sensor, but then it's got to be calibrated to some kind of spec or whatever. Like, do you at the factory, or I guess, is there anything that needs to be calibrated on these kind of sensor modules, or are they just kind of pretty good to go mostly out of the gate?
Yeah, they're pretty good to go. The only thing that the 755, which is the main powerhouse of the Air One, it's pre-calibrated from the factory. The SCD40, the CO2 sensor that we were talking about earlier, we do calibrate all of those here to outside air in Kentucky. And so those are, the whole sensor should be pretty well calibrated. But if someone has different, our Kentucky air may be different than, Gavin's, Canada air up there. So it's very easy to do. You just push a button, you take it outside, push a button to recalibrate it. But
on the CO2 sensors, a lot of manufacturers will put in, the sensor has a auto calibration functionality, and it actually causes more harm than good. So what the auto calibration does on those sensors is it'll look for, it takes all these readings throughout a week or a day, whatever your calibration period is. And it says, okay, the lowest value that I saw, that I'm going to interpret that as being 500 parts per million, which is outdoor air roughly. But the problem is that if that was in a bedroom or an office setting and your lowest true particulate reading was maybe, 1,000 for whatever reason, it's now going to calibrate itself as being that as good air. And so we actually have our auto calibration turned off. A user can turn them back on, but we should make a post about it. We literally pre-calibrate on a big board every one of our CO2 sensors outdoors, so that it knows what fresh air is and it knows what a true, 500 to 600 ppm range is. And then when it's in your house, it can more accurately detect throughout the week if it's getting higher or lower without, setting itself wrong.
Okay. So you're able to crank them up, and I mean, if there's one that has like a crazy measurement or none at all, then like, hey, QA, pull that out, and that's probably not a good sensor or something like that.
Yep,
exactly.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, we do all the manufactured in house. I've been making all the sensors for since I went full time with the business and left my other job. So if you have a sensor, it's probably built by me. So we do everything. we flash them, do all of the full manufacturing, bagging them, all the fulfillment, and everything's done in house. So
that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a big differentiator is that we're very big on building in our local city and our local state, and trying to grow our company here instead of using contract manufacturing potentially overseas or something like that. They're all built here, which is, we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And another thing I noticed, other than the sensors built in, every one of these are expandable, do other things such as Bluetooth tracking. If you wanted to do room presence, you can do that, and I'm just bringing this up because these things have so much power that you don't even realize what you can do with them at sometimes, right? If you can add in Bluetooth tracking, you can get rid of another device that you had dedicated to that, you know? You can have add-ons and, you know, even if it didn't have CO2 sensors, you can get add-on to put that in there as well. So, it's very good to see the expandability of this stuff.
Yeah, we love the modularity and being able, as consumers too, like when we buy a product, we want to be able to, you know, do whatever we want with it. And, you know, we don't want it to be like e-waste. So we try to be backwards compatible, or we like to offer multiple modules that, you know, can be put on retroactively. So that's a huge thing with us. And we want to make it very easy as well. So like Home Assistant is getting easier to use, but we like to think that our sensors are like the easiest sensors to use for like the DIY like tech community, essentially. So like they're very easy to use with Home Assistant.
So I've been getting into some gardening myself. I've posted a couple videos. We're doing some landscaping at our house. We're doing some raised garden beds and some other things. I see you have a plant sensor out now, the PLT-1. I know it's not outdoor rated; it's indoor only. But can you talk about the capabilities of that device and what use cases you're seeing from that so far?
Yeah, so we're very excited for the Plant 1 and Plant 1B, which is the battery version. Gavin's, I'm guessing, hopefully a little excited too. So he's had his hands on them for a little bit.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
So yeah, this was one of, again, we were talking about the future product survey. This was the, after the air sensor, this was the number one most requested sensor. So the Plant 1 and Plant 1B, the only difference is one has a battery and one doesn't. They're both capacitive soil moisture sensors. And they have a conformal coating on the stake that actually goes into the ground. They both do air humidity and temperature, and they also have soil temperature, an add-on like a temperature probe you can put on it, and it does lux as well as UV, so that way you know that the light that's getting to it is actually sunlight.
Ah, that makes sense too, because then that's pretty cool, because then you could do automations based off of like how much daylight it's receiving and how much water it actually needs and everything like that. So that's kind of cool that you've combined the lux sensor into that as well. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and plants, you know, need the light to do well as well as the, you know, water. So that was important. The quick note, the battery version uses an 18650 battery. So
nice.
Fairly common. We wanted something that had a good voltage range that would also give you good battery life. I think at first we had it, the default settings were about wake it up every 8 hours and read for like a minute or so. And we were seeing, you know, easily 6 months or so. If you fine tune it and go out even farther, I mean, you could potentially get out to a year. So that we're really big about not changing batteries. So anything that we make, we want to make sure you don't have to change batteries every month, you know, so like 6 months is kind of, I think, our cutoff. So very happy with that.
We've talked a lot about soil moisture sensors. Are there different ways that companies are reading that information? You've said a capacitive stake on that. Is there different ways to do that? Is that kind of the most universal way to do it?
Yeah. So there are really two primary methods. One is called resistive. And you'll see those typically have two probes. They're like two little legs that'll go down into the soil. Stay away from those. They will degrade very fast in the water based on how they measure. It causes them to corrode really quickly, like within a year. The next step is the capacitive. So that's using a different sensing technology. It is far less prone to corrosion. And then we take it one step on that. We have not only capacitive, but we put a conformal coating. And what a conformal coating is like an epoxy coat around the PCB that seals it up and protects it from moisture leaching into it. And we're proud of that. That's definitely a differentiator, is the longevity that you'll get out of this.
Also, real quick, it does also have the piezo buzzer and the RGB LED. They're both addressable. So you can do audible or visual. Yeah, I know. So
I've got ideas now. Gavin, if you're getting close to it and the shadow covers the lux meter, you can make it squeal and say, "No, don't step on me."
Oh, there you go.
Or if you lose them in your lawn, you could just trigger them to make noise and say, help me, you know, like.
Exactly.
Genius.
That was a question we got from the community, they were like, how am I going to know? Or that's a problem they usually have with plant sensors. Like, how am I going to know which plant sensor I'm configuring? Well, you can turn the light on or play a little tune. So
yeah, the EcoWit ones, I have EcoWit ones everywhere in my yard, and recommendation from Gavin, but I have to take them out of the ground because they have an ID on them, and that's how I know which one they are. There's no way to like turn off the LED or make it flash or anything like that. So I'm always like, which one is this one?
Yeah. And just to touch on the coating, I did notice that there is it's like almost like a plastic coating on them, which is different from my other ones, which have a rougher feel to it. So this will make it last longer. That's much better too.
Yeah, it seals the sensor. So the bare PCB, that's the stake that goes down into the ground. Water can leach into those over time, and then it throws off the calibration inside of the sensor. So the conformal coating helps with that. And then even past that, which I didn't cover, is the calibration of it is user configurable. So the calibration process is very, very simple. You dunk the sensor probe into a cup of water, and it gives you a number. That's your 100% water number. And then you
it's 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very wet.
Yeah. So then you would dry the sensor off, and that'll give you a different voltage number. That is your low voltage, your low water percentage. And then that's recalibrates it if it ever gets out of whack in the future. They all come pre-calibrated with numbers, but we're very, integrated with the community and like want to build quality products. Like our faces everywhere. Justin and I, we're not some hidden entity, hidden company that you don't know who's running it. It's us. Like, we stand behind our products and want to build quality things.
yeah, if you reach out to us, you're talking to either Trevor or myself, and we do have a support guy named Brandon in Discord who helps out tremendously. But yeah, you can get to talk directly to the co-founders who are actually doing everything for the business. So people, that's something that's important to us, and people really relate to that and really like that aspect.
Nice. So all these are indoor sensors right now. Any plans in the future for like outdoor sensors, like lawn moisture sensors or something like that?
Yeah, that's actually was highly requested when we released our plant sensor. So our struggle to get there is we're currently 3D printing our cases, which you can get outdoor material, but trying to get a waterproof outdoor sensor that we can stand by for years is just not something we want to take on. So, but we are working very hard and close to get a injection molding machine. And so with an in-house injection molding, we'll be able to make more rigid outdoor cases that can withstand the elements and are waterproof. And then there you go. We'll hopefully have an outdoor sensor ready to go.
That'd be awesome.
What do you hold up there, Seth? What do you got?
So this is actually from Rack Wireless. They have these little like outdoor things with like a sealed thing, but it's got the
solar panel lid.
Solar panel, yeah. But it's just like what you're talking about, injection molded. It fits together real tight, and it's got little screws that go through the back of it. But yeah, that's what I was thinking when you were talking about needing outdoor cases. Like you definitely need something that's going to hold up to the elements and keep everything dry and that kind of thing. It totally makes sense.
We actually prototyped with a little solar, like a hat like that on top of the plant sensor for like potentially working outside. But I think ultimately the humidity and everything would get to it. So really excited for the injection molding though.
Yeah. And you can definitely, do one-off 3D prints that you coat with an epoxy or put in seals and things like that to make them outdoor rated. But it just doesn't really work at scale or the longevity that we're trying to guarantee.
Yeah, and then conformal coating. People have asked about us conformal coating the entire PCB, but with the temperature sensor and the Lux UV sensors, we're worried about it affecting their capabilities. So, plus it forces us to make something that goes outside too, which is good. Especially for Gavin.
So definitely interested. Outdoor mmWave has been pretty requested as well.
Yeah, I could see a good use for that because I have outdoor motion sensors, but they get triggered by literally anything. I mean, leaves and corn stalks right now because it's fall, cats, whatever else. So mmWave outside would be nice.
Yeah. So if anybody wanted to give an idea for a future project, I don't know if you mentioned this before, but like an example, like a pressure sensor for the pool filter, where would they be able to submit such a thing? I'm just asking for a friend.
So you can reach out to us on Discord. Or you can email us at support@apolloautomation.com.
We also have a product survey link at the very top of our webpage. And that's where what we've been talking about earlier that we use really for feedback. It lets us see, if it's one person asking for something, or is it, a huge amount of people are wanting this type of a device?
Yeah, because I think you're the first person to ask for this, Gavin. Could you actually expand on it a little bit more? What do you?
Well, like
he means add like 10 more sensors into it because it's just one thing, Gavin. Come on.
Yeah, on your pool filter, there's a little pressure gauge there, and it kind of tells you if you need to clean the filter or not, right? And I'm lazy. I hate walking out there and looking at it, so I'd like it. I looked at some of this in the Home Assistant forums, and others were making their own versions of it, and I thought it was very interesting that, it could just plug in. I actually have the equipment here I could send you to put it together for me if you want. I have a pressure sensor and everything, right? I started working on it, but then again, I got fed up about it. But there's an idea, a little niche product too.
Well, now you have 6 months to do it though, because it's winter time. So
yeah.
No, you got plenty of time to figure it out.
Pool's closed. No rush.
Yeah. So we love hearing from ideas from people that we meet. It's great to hear about other people's problems and then talk about solutions and be able to come up with an offering if it's not out there.
We actually have a temperature sensor that uses a probe that's very accurate. It uses one of the Dallas, I think the DS 1820 B20.
Yes.
Very accurate. Yep. And so we were finished with it. We were about to okay, we're going to launch it. And then one of our frequent users in Discord and Home Assistant was like, could you make this work with a meat probe so I can see what my cooking temperatures are at? And we're like, dang it. And they're like, yeah. So Trevor's been working on it, working on finishing that, and we should hopefully have it out here pretty soon. But
yeah, a product we were ready to launch 4 months ago, and then it was the product's great as a temperature sensor. It's waterproof. The idea is you can measure your fish tanks, your pool, your refrigerator, your freezer, whatever you want to measure. But yeah, the addition of a food probe to be able to measure your oven or your grill, that sounds incredible. And so that's where we could have launched our temp probe as it is and come up with a food probe in the future. But if we can combine that into one sensor so that a consumer can use it for both or however they want to do it without having to purchase a second one, we've been delaying it, trying to get that to work.
and I'll just let you know, the whole pool market is an ignored area. I guess there's not a lot of pools, but the people that have them are willing to spend some money, and everything out there is kind of in Florida, you have the ocean too. But, everything out there is cloud-based, locked in. You can't integrate it type of thing. So I've seen a lot of people developing their own solutions. It would be nice, water quality and stuff like that. If you ever want to get into it, let's talk. I can give you some ideas.
We talked about it early on because, my in-laws have an in-ground pool and we're out there all the time and spending so much on chemicals and stuff. And I was like, I wonder what kind of pool sensors are there? And we looked, because hopefully it could be solar powered and test the pH of the water, maybe the chlorine, that sort of thing. So definitely on the radar.
Ah, man, I'm excited. All right. I want to talk about this finally. The Apollo H1. And the reason why I like this idea is because you guys give 100% of proceeds to charity, right? And, it's your way of giving back. I'll let you touch on this.
Yeah. So it came up. Justin and I are, makers. We love building things. And what a fun project to make a holiday ornament, or it could sit on your table. So we decided to come up with this idea to make an annual Apollo holiday, decoration. This year it is a Christmas tree. It's got roughly 20 RGB LEDs on the front for you to light up into different holiday patterns. It's got a buzzer on the back that you can play holiday tunes on it. And the cool thing is it'll come as a non-smart device, which means you just put the battery into it. There's a button on the back. If you click it once, it plays the first song, twice plays the second song, and then third plays an additional song. But you can flash it with smart firmware to connect it to your Home Assistant as well. That'll let you control an ornament on your Christmas tree, which is a pretty neat idea. And so we wanted to make this fun product and found it a great way to be able to give back to some charities here in the Lexington and Kentucky area. Well, we've been very fortunate through the resources that Kentucky has given us to help support our business as we grow in resources. And we think it's a great way to give back and a fun thing to do to donate those proceeds to a couple of the children's charities here in Lexington.
That's awesome. I have smart lights for my Christmas tree, but I don't think I have any smart ornaments yet. So might have to add this one to the tree.
Yeah, it's still been a labor of love. Yeah, and it can be powered through USB-C as well. We actually, one of our users has already 3D printed a mount for it if you don't want to hang it on your tree as well. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, he's got his on his entry table. So every time when the front door opens, it tells the sensor to play one of the random chimes, and so he gets
that's a good idea.
a little light show and a sound show when they come in.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna drive the wife nuts with this one.
Did you put your tree up yet, Gavin?
Listen, it's not even Black Friday yet. Like, come on, I gotta wait till after that.
You were joking
Thanksgiving.
about
Yeah, see,
I felt bad making you. You said after you got the H1, you're gonna have to put your tree up. I felt bad making you work, but
yeah,
Gavin,
I think I may have
Gavin, take the easy way out, man. Just put this up and say, "There's our tree."
Yeah,
there you go. Problem solved.
I'll put this on top of the presents. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
So it's also, the cool thing is it's an ESP32 C3 Mini, and you can use it as a Bluetooth proxy as well. So it has other smart capabilities, and then the piezo buzzer, like Trevor was saying, once you get it into Home Assistant, you can change the LED array to whatever you want. You can change and play tunes on the piezo buzzer, so you can make it play Star Wars or like Mario, Mission Impossible, whatever you want. So
Yeah, the LEDs are all RGB LEDs, and I do have a video on the website we'll link to. It's really cool. I actually just bought one.
Oh,
this is really cool. I'm gonna put it in front of put it in the front door. I think my daughter will love seeing it when she comes in, so she'll probably steal it. Actually, it'll probably just end up in her room.
And we did the battery that it uses is a CR123A rechargeable or a 16340.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it has the voltage and has the battery life. It does go to sleep after playing a tune.
It's awesome. Oh, we'll definitely put links to that in the show notes as well.
Do you have any future projects that you're working on, or anything in the works that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we've always got quite a few, balls in the air that we're trying to juggle. And the two that are the closest, we talked about our temperature sensor that has the food probe. We're very excited for that. I don't know of many smart Home Assistant connected food probes. So that would be a cool addition to have to tell you how your oven's doing or the steak on the grill, things like that. The second thing that we're working really hard on is a smart speaker. So this would be, a replacement for traditional smart speakers. It's got essentially the same sound quality that you would expect. It's got it sounds great. Microphones on it. You'll be able to talk to it with local voice assistant that doesn't leave your house. It's all connected in Home Assistant. We're very excited. It's a very hard project. We're working very hard on it to get that working. But yeah, those are some big ones.
That's awesome.
And with the temperature sensor, with the Meat Probe, we joked about doing a Home Assistant challenge. Whoever can cook their steak with use the temperature sensor first. We'll give away another temperature sensor because the community is absolutely amazing. I'm a pretty light user, and we offer these products, and people are like, I'm talking to the ISS, and I'm turning my lights on, and I'm doing this and this. It's just crazy stuff that I've never even imagined. And so, if the first person to cook a steak using it, will send you a free sensor for sure.
That's how I feel every time Gavin talks about his stuff. I'm just like, man, I just want my lights to turn on every time I touch it. You're over here configuring vast dashboards and stuff.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about these products. Is or ESP Home in general is there's it's endless possibilities, right? I just get frustrated when I have to pull out that soldering iron and do that type of stuff. But that's what you guys are doing. You're doing the hard work for us, and then we just plug it in and have fun.
Yeah, that's the beauty. That's exactly like I hit on earlier. We want to be like an easy to use, entry for Home Assistant.
Well, we got one more question for you, and we always we forgot to put this on the sheet, so you guys are just going to be surprised this time. But we generally like to ask people, what's your favorite smart home product? And it doesn't have to be one of yours. I'm not asking you to pick your favorite baby, but it can be. But what's your favorite smart home product?
It's something you use all the time. If you went on vacation or went to somebody's house and they didn't have it, it would annoy you.
I really like Reolink cameras.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the better smart devices. Their integration with Home Assistant's awesome. Their IP cameras being closed circuit. I think that's one of the big things that I like. It's just that added security of being able to see if anything was going on at home. So that's something that I if I went on vacation, I'd be without for sure, being able to kind of see everything. And I know you guys joked, Seth, you had cameras running during the hurricanes.
Yeah.
We watched this house almost blow away.
I did a restream out of the house to YouTube and just like, because everybody's asking like, well, how's it going every 5 minutes? And so I was like, you know what? Here's a YouTube link. You can just watch for yourself. And so it was quite interesting up until the point that we lost power. And about 30 minutes after that, things started shutting down and it was just no more juice for the internet, I guess. And then we were in the dark. So it was kind of wild.
That's scary, but you guys made it through fine.
Oh yeah, we luckily didn't have any damage. There's still limbs out in the front yard they have to come by and pick up, but we're still waiting. One of these days.
Trevor, what's yours?
Yeah, what's your favorite automation? Smart home product.
Mine's simple because I'm lazy. Just being able to control my lights from my phone. That's what I like.
Yes. There you go.
I like that they come on automatically at night. I get light in the house, and then when I go to bed, we can click a button and turn them all off. That's the one I use every day, twice a day. And
he's even got one of those Samsung like smart fridges, and you can put Home Assistant on the
on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be like the only reason to own one of those, I feel like. Just so I can control Home Assistant from my fridge.
Yeah, we didn't buy it. It was here when we bought our house, but
yeah.
That's actually probably one of the most frequent ways we interact with Home Assistant is actually through that tablet on there. Being able to turn lights off or see if a 3D printer is done printing. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Samsung's like, use smart things. You're like, nope, Home Assistant.
Yep.
Well, very cool. We right around the corner. We'll have this show up next week. Do you have any sales running for Black Friday or anything like that people should keep an eye out for?
We don't have anything for Black Friday. We always have sales for bulk sensor buys, 10 or more sensors. We give discounts. On the plant sensor, there's 4 or more. We have a discount. Yeah, our mentality on the Black Friday sales is we don't jack our prices up throughout the year just to give a sale at the end. We think we've got fair pricing throughout the year. And
Amazon.
Yeah. So our prices stay pretty consistent. We do small sales here and there. But yeah, we just try to keep it fair throughout the whole year.
And for the listeners, if you're going to buy anything, buy the H1. It goes to charity.
That's what I was going to say. The sale is the H1. Go get that. That's a really cool piece.
It's been a lot of fun for sure.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us on the show and talking to us about the products here. If somebody wants to reach out to you, I know you mentioned the Discord server, but like where on the internet should they go to get in touch with you guys and learn more about Apollo?
Yeah, the best is just apolloautomation.com. If you go that'll take you to our website. We've got our Discord on there. We've got the product surveys. We've got all of our products, links out to our wiki, to our GitHub, where you can see our code and our 3D files. Everything's there for you.
Very open, very transparent. We'll tell you pretty much anything.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Justin, Trevor, thanks so much for coming on today. And we'll definitely have to have you back on one of these days.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
All right, and that's the interview with Justin and Trevor over there at Apollo Automation. If you are interested in checking them out, is it apolloautomation.com?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, so it's kind of easy. Check that out and check out the little the H1 ornament thing. Go on there and get a couple of them. I bought one. It's really nice.
And I really like what this company's doing. They're pretty much open to making anything, right? And it's really cool. We had a great conversation. And one thing I want to add, like this was one of the things we talked about after the fact, but they're starting to add PoE to a lot of their devices. Mm-hmm. So something to keep in mind. They've been working on battery versions. They're adding PoE to it. So, they're open to doing a lot and they're developing a lot.
Yeah, they look like really solid products, and they're made right here in the Midwest, guys. I think Kentucky's made in the Midwest, or is the Midwest. So that's pretty nice. They're making them just not too far from me.
Yeah, I'd consider it the Midwest or the North from where I am.
It's somewhere up there.
Yeah, but it's a small business, and man, they do a lot for such a small business. They've got a lot of products here, a lot of different options on each product. Really cool stuff. All right, and I think TJ, we've been talking about this in the back channel. We want to give away 2 of these little ornaments here. So if you want an Apollo H1 annual holiday ornament. This is the H1. There may be next year, there may be an H2. I don't know. But the money from these goes to a great cause. And we figured to buy a couple of these and ship them on off. So if you're interested, go over to the website, HomeTech.fm / what's the number of the show? 507. We'll have a link there in the show notes. You can drop your name in the bucket to be not you, Gavin, not you.
Damn.
Yeah. Gavin, you already got one. You got one early too. You got one before everybody else.
You can never have enough of these. I want to collect them all.
These are pretty cool though. I think this is the first ESP home Christmas ornament I've ever seen. I don't remember ever seeing one of these before.
And it can be powered via a cable. It can be powered via battery. It can play a little tune, a little light show.
I mean, it's pretty nice. It's really cool. They're typically $14.99, so they're not a bad deal anyway. And all the proceeds go to charity. So I think this is a fantastic device. It gets your dip your little toes in some Home Assistant and ESP Home maybe. It's pretty cool. So
I think it runs standalone too. Like you don't have to.
Oh yeah,
it's got a little button you press and it does things.
Yeah,
the lights are honestly what did it for me. Like so it had to go in my cart once I saw the lights were not just like red and green LEDs. They actually are the RGB LEDs that change colors. I'm like, oh yeah, done.
Yeah, I ordered one. It'll be here Saturday, so hopefully we have our tree up by then.
Or you will have this tree up. Who knows?
That's right. I just need this one now. That's all.
Yeah, I will put on the disclaimer. We're probably going to keep this on the state side of things. So if you're in the United States,
yes,
and you can go over and sign up on the list. Or if you're in Jersey, we're still trying to figure out who you are.
The country of Jersey.
Yeah, not New Jersey. Sorry, if you're in New Jersey, we don't want to hear from you. Yeah. But if you're in Jersey, the country,
we want to figure out who you are.
I'm just kidding, New Jersey. I like you still.
We're very curious about our one listener or two listeners in Jersey. And if you're in Jersey and you're listening to the show, you have the opportunity to fess up now. We'll send you one of these ornaments.
Seth will hand deliver it to you.
No, I will not.
No, he will not.
My bad.
I'll hand deliver it into an envelope, and TJ will put some stamps on it.
Your local postal service will hand deliver it to you.
Yeah, exactly. In 6 to 7 months, or however long it takes. I think that's the problem with going overseas with this. It would probably take forever for something like this to show up if it doesn't set off all sorts of detectors at the at the customs. It would
100% get rerouted too, because they'd be like, well, they obviously meant New Jersey, so
right. Yeah, I'm just looking at their website now. $2,100 raised for charity as of 11/26/24. There you go.
That's awesome.
Really cool stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And one of the best parts of that interview, actually, we didn't record it, but after the fact, Justin, said he was listening to our show where I talked about the spiders on the rack and using my peppermint spray.
Oh, yeah.
And he said they have the same. See, I'm not alone. They had the same problem. They're using peppermint spray. It's keeping the spiders at bay. I was down there the other day. No spiders on my rack. I gave a little squirts of peppermint spray just to keep it fresh. The room smells good. The rack is spider free. You see, I'm not alone.
I think we're gonna need some like Gavin's peppermint spray or something. Like
Put
we're
my face on the
have to put a
bottle.
productize
Gavin's
somehow.
rack spray.
Yeah, there you go. Rack website. You better go register that website.
Gavin's rack spray.
Put my face
Spray
on the
a day
bottle.
keeps the spiders away.
Man, you're giving away all our secrets now. Like these are brilliant. Say yes to the spray. Spray it. Don't say it.
Wow.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get on that.
This is brilliant. I'll sell it by the gallons.
Another domain to go by. Yeah. It'll be peppermint spray. It'll be the packaging. I think we'll have to do well on the packaging. I think that's
someone's gonna grab rack spray and that's it. We're gonna miss
rack
out.
spray.
Rackspray.com.
Man, that was a terrible website. That's probably already taken, though. I'm just saying.
I'm afraid to even just I'm taking one for the team in a private window. Here we go.
Oh, I'm already going. I'm not even going private window. It doesn't load anything.
Oh, there you go, Seth.
That might be our website. Who knows?
Oh,
hey, rackspray.com is available. $11.28 a year. How is that available?
This sounds like Instabuy.
We'll have to get rack spray and
we could do rack spray and just have different scents.
No, I mean it has to be peppermint.
Yeah, it has to be peppermint.
We could have peppermint as like the base layer, but you can make like peppermint mocha maybe, or
What if that attracts spiders?
Christmas
They
peppermint.
really love
yeah,
chocolate.
exactly. You know,
Wintergreen and peppermint. I don't know. Cookies and peppermints.
Well, evidently Gavin's not the only one with a spider problem, and evidently, if you tap peppermint spray, that'll chase the spiders away. You're talking about some of the spiders, and I have some of them in my garage here. I just leave them be because they're just spiders. What are they going to do? And I guess if I probably need to get some of this peppermint spray and spray it around, and they won't be here anymore. But they'll be outside. That's where they belong. They'll probably be happier out there, I think.
Rexspiders.com is also available.
Stop making me buy domains, TJ. It's not in the budget. All right. Let's move on here. We do have nothing in the mailbag this week. We do have a pick of the week. This is kind of cool. Somebody posted this. I think someone posted this in our Slack chat. And
That was me.
Yeah, was it you? Okay, I thought so. These are MagSafe detachable Ethernet cables, and this is a great idea. It's like a little Ethernet cable. It has a little magnetic, like you plug it in the RJ45 part into the laptop or whatever or computer, and then it's got this little magnetic connector on the back. It zaps them together and connects all of the pins, so you have internet now. And if you get up and walk away with your laptop, it just kind of breaks away. But when you sit back down, you plug it in and you got fast internet instead of, dealing with Wi-Fi. It's a great idea. $27 for a 1 meter cable.
Yeah, I saw this. I don't really use MagSafe. Like I have MagSafe for the MacBook Air I have, and I find it almost useless, so I don't use it. But I know a lot of people like MagSafe, so maybe somebody that we know will buy this and they'll tell us how it is.
Yeah, I think MagSafe has its place. I use it sometimes when I use it, especially when I'm have my laptop on my lap or something, and I don't want to plug in using the USB-C. If it's on my desk, I've got like one USB-C cable that goes out to like a hub thing and connects everything together, and I don't have to worry about it. So yeah, MagSafe doesn't make sense there. But if I'm like in a place that I'm like, I might trip on this cable, and it's going to take my computer with it and, break the screen or something, I'll plug in the MagSafe just to be safe. Because I usually I won't need the USB-C. Now, if I'm sitting at a desk somewhere, I probably just grab the USB-C cable and plug it in too. So I don't know. I've used the MagSafe more than I thought I would. But I do occasionally find, like, if I'm traveling, I'll just grab a USB-C cable, because typically in a hotel or something, there's a desk there you plug into, and then you have all the other stuff that you can plug, Sometimes when you're traveling, you can use the computer as your little charging hub, right? So you can charge everything off of it. So you plug the MagSafe in, and you have depending on the laptop, 3 to 4 ports of USB-C to come out of, and you can charge your stuff with that. So there's options. It's good to have options, I guess is what I'm saying. And I like this, even though my Mac doesn't even have this port on it. What I need is, I guess, an HDMI MagSafe, right? Because that would complete the set.
And you hit a key point there. I think a lot of the newer laptops don't even have this port anymore. Like, yeah. I was looking at my Surface notebook here, and I don't think I have the port. It's all just a USB-C port. So, but these cables support up to 10 gigabit. They're Cat 6, which was shocking.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 10 gigabit, Cat 6A. Yeah, really neat product. Oh, they have a little video of somebody walking by and tripping on the cable, but it pulls out the cable, and the laptop just stays on the desk. Yeah, I wonder if they glued the laptop to the desk for this video. I would.
Don't rip it off, please.
Anyway, cool pick of the week. Good find, TJ. For a few thousand yen or $27, you can pick one of these up. If you've had any feedback, questions, comments, pick of the weeks, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out that online form. All right, project updates. I really don't have anything. I do a bunch of house stuff around lately, and I've got Christmas lights going on. So they finally came and took away all the limbs in the front yard Monday, and I immediately ran out there and mowed the lawn with the push mower. Well, I mowed the front lawn with the push mower. I got in the back, and it's so high the push mower just stopped working. It would not start again. So I don't know what I'm going to do there.
Got to get a chainsaw for that Florida grass.
But the front lawn is mowed. It looks great. I'm ready for Christmas lights and little blow up things that I can put out there for the Christmas season. So as soon as Thanksgiving's over, that's what's going on here. Christmas decorations. What you got, TJ?
Yeah, I got the same. I'm doing a lot of lights right now. I ordered some more lights and they just showed up from Amazon. I haven't done much else with that though, but I had one project I did in the past week. I called it Operation Downgrade.
Downgrade?
I
No,
downgraded
no.
my rack. Downgraded the rack. I went from a 16U rack, 23 inches deep, to a 12U rack, 17 inches deep. So 4U less, 7 inches shallower. It saves so much space. It's in our laundry room and it's like right above the dryer. And the old one wasn't that bad. But it just like, I don't know, it looked cluttered in there.
Yeah.
And I got the new one installed and it's just like the right amount of space. But it doesn't feel as cluttered when I walk in the laundry room now. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think you did this right. I think you set expectations correctly. Like, this is what the rack looks like. Look at this giant rack, and it's kind of messy and cluttered. And then, you probably didn't need that giant rack in there. And now you went and put the smaller one in, and it looks like it fits.
Well, yeah.
I think you did it right. Visually, you walk in, you're like, if you didn't have a rack there before and you walked in and saw your rack, you'd be like, wow, what's that? But since you had the giant one before, you walk in and you're like, man, that looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. Much better. And it's one of those things that like originally I bought a big rack because I was like, man, I'm gonna put like a battery backup in there. I'm gonna put my camera server in there, and I don't have a Blue Iris server anymore. I got rid of that, and my battery backup doesn't fit in my rack, guys. I need like a giant deep rack to put my battery backup in because it's a 3,000 volt amp battery backup. So it is ridiculously deep, and it doesn't fit in there anyway. So it gave me the perfect chance to downgrade the rack, and it's been wonderful.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that's the only thing I have, minus the finishing up the yard stuff. I'm getting the yard cleaned up and everything for winter time. So I've spread some compost on the areas of the grass that were awful this year, and trying to get some of that ready. So nothing too crazy right now. Kind of winding down for the holidays.
It's that time of year. Gavin, are you winding down? Are you winding anything? What are you winding?
I don't wind down. I keep going right through to the holidays. Holidays is the best time to do projects because the work's slow.
That's right.
So, it's the best time to get things done, Seth. Make note of that. But this week I was looking at automating my blinds. So I have blinds on a number of rooms. I have like 5 of them, and they're about 2.5 inches wide blinds. They're horizontal and they're cordless, and I just wanted them to tilt, open and close in the evenings and mornings and stuff like that too, right? So I over the years, I've looked at the iBlinds, which is a Z-Wave motor that you could put into it. But of course, it doesn't fit my blinds because my blinds are cordless, the Bally blinds. So I couldn't go with that. And I also played around. I also ordered the SwitchBot. And it's the little one with the motor that goes around the wand and turns it for you to open and close. And I was like, it's all right, but it never worked properly for me, right? Like whenever it opened and closed the blinds, the wand just flared all over the place. It made a lot of noise, or it just didn't work properly. So I kind of gave up on that. And then I was looking around and I came across Sunsa wand, and they're genius. They're actually, the motor and everything is built right into the wand. You're right. And you just replace your wand with this wand. It has a little mount for stabilization, and it works beautifully. The challenge with my blinds is the part you connect it to on my blinds stick out at an angle, right? Where usually they stick straight down, and that's where kind of like the SwitchBot didn't work. I really wanted the SwitchBot to work, but just couldn't get it to work. So these work beautifully. They aesthetically, they're so much better too, because they just look like the regular wand. They're just a little thicker because the battery goes in the wand itself. So it has 4 AA batteries that it uses. Ooh. So,
okay.
Yeah. And
that's where the battery go. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So, cool. And I think you can get add-ons for like solar power and stuff like that if you really wanted to. Right. But, it looks so much better. It's quieter. It's a little bit more expensive, but I found it was worth it. It has a light sensor built in too. So you can do automations based on that light sensor if you wanted to. Setup was so easy, and it fits so many types of blinds, like vertical, horizontal. It works with all of them. The motor is actually pretty quiet. I found it was quieter than the SwitchBot ones. On top of that, it wasn't flying all over the place and banging on things. And it integrates with Home Assistant. There's a Home Assistant. I think it's a Hacks integration, but it works beautifully. So it's all in my automations and everything too. Now, the cons. There's only one real con, or two cons, I would say, for this. One, it's cloud-based, right? And I know they use Bluetooth, but I think the Bluetooth is for setup only. I haven't figured that out yet. I was going to see if I can use a Bluetooth controller to control it, but it's cloud-based. So they have an open API and everything that lets you interact with the cloud to control it, and that's how Home Assistant does it, But in this case, I don't mind if it's cloud-based, just because there's no other options for me other than buying all new blinds plus controllers, which gets a lot more expensive, right? So I kind of dealt with that. And the second kind of con is with the SwitchBot, you could still go up and turn the rod, just to the wand to open and close your blinds normally, regularly. With this, you can't. Right. So you lose that control of manual wand control, but they built in like this double tap feature on the side where if you just walk up and you double tap the wand, it will open or close.
Oh, that's smart.
So that's how they kind of got around that. So that actually works pretty good too. On top of that, I also put a Zeus switch in the room. So right next to the light switch. So you could just press the switch and it'll open and close it. And it makes much more sense for people when they see the little icons on the switch. That's how you open the blinds. Cause that's what I do in all my rooms with the automated blinds is I just put in a little extra switch and they have a manual control over it. So those are the only cons. I don't know what the battery life is like yet with them. They say 8 months,
9 to 12 months,
something like that. So I will find out. And I don't know what they base that off of, but mine only really truly run twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. Right. So I will see what the battery life is like with that, but I'm good with that. I'm happy with them so far. Keep in mind, I've only had them for a few days and it's a very early review. And I probably, if I have problems, you'll hear from me in a month or so again, what my thoughts are. But at this point, I'm I want to get the 3 more to finish off my other blinds and I'll be good with that. Right. I really like them. So if you're looking at that, give them a look. Sunsa Wand. I think it's sunsawand.com is their website.
Yep. Sunsa Wand. Yep.
Yep.
We'll put a link in the show notes. Yep. Looks pretty cool.
Yep.
One thing they need to add to their API for you is the battery level.
Yep. It pulls all that.
Not have that in the API.
But it gets it all in Home Assistant.
I think at the battery level in the home, it's not in the API that I'm looking at. So maybe they added it in. They didn't document it.
1 second here. Devices, Sunsa Wand. So in Home Assistant, you have full control of the blind. You get the battery, you get the temperature, and then you configure. Yeah. So they must be using they must have worked with Sunsa to get some other ways of getting that information in.
Or they just haven't updated.
Yeah.
They provide that in the API and they haven't updated it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Someone noticed it was there. There you go. Done.
Yeah. So the integration's great in Home Assistant.
I like this. Unfortunately, my baby killing blinds can't use this. So
yeah,
I've got the iBlinds thing now looks promising though. That looks exactly like what I need, and I can get rid of the little cords that hang down and just put those in, and then we never want to raise our blinds. We just want to crack them open.
You just want to open them and close them. I think the iBlinds would have probably been my most preferred solution for this. But to get them, I'd have to buy the iBlinds plus buy new blinds because they don't work with my current blinds. So it just got expensive. Right. But if iBlinds work for you, I would probably look at that. There's Z-Wave. I think you also lose the manual control. I think they replace it with a little button underneath. So you lose the wand.
Yeah, I mean, I have the strings, remember? So I don't even, if I take those off, it wouldn't bother me any.
Yeah.
I would just use something else to, like a little keypad, like what you're talking
about.
I would use something external. So
and it would be safer for your kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody would be bouncing up and down on the couch and then suddenly get stuck on the blinds.
I'd like to know what happened, how it happened, what the story was behind that. But yeah, the eye blinds are a nice one, but I like my Sunsa ones for now.
Oh, good find. We'll put links to all that in the show notes. And I'd be curious as to what you find out as far as the battery life, how long that lasts. Really, you never know. You never know with these things. So, all right, off to eat. Tomorrow's eating day, and then
that's right.
And then Friday, I guess I can set up some Christmas lights and all the little blow up things in the front yard.
I set up my blow up dinosaur today, so I'm ready.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up everything this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show. But every single pledge, every single one of them gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day and get giveaways. We had I don't know. People were like, hey, I need to get rid of something. And then other people were like, hey, I'll take it. And that's just how it works. That's the Christmas spirit in the HomeTech Hub, right, guys? That's what we do for you.
TJ started the trend and others jumped in. Yeah. So,
Well, I'm always purging electronics, and I'm always getting electronics and I'm purging electronics. This week I gave away, I'm giving away a Flume water meter. So
what?
The water company came and changed my water meter this week and makes it not compatible with my Flume water meter anymore. And I contacted Flume and they said, yep, it's not compatible. But they gave me like a bunch of good options to get rid of it. And I decided to post it in the hub for free. So I just have to pay shipping to get it. So
nice.
You'll never know when those deals are going to pop up.
There you go.
Giving away a doorbell, giving away some cameras, all kinds of stuff.
It's all good there. And it's $1 a month. Just you pop in there, say hi. TJ will say, hey, do you need a doorbell or a Flume water meter?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
I give away Seth's stuff all the time. He doesn't know. He has so much stuff that he doesn't even know. I give away his stuff.
It's all gone. I go back there to find it. Like, where did I put this thing?
His wife just mails it to me. I send it out. It's been going on for years. I'm like, nah, just walk into the garage. Just send me a random thing. Just send me the first thing you grab.
There's just so much storage in here now. It's weird. All right, if you want to help out but can't support financially, we just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in whatever podcast app you listen to the show in. That's gonna wrap up the show this week. Everybody have a great holiday weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time. And okay, so hold on. I want to give away the Christmas tree ornaments. Can we announce that and then figure out how to get people's names and stuff?
Yes, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
We could just like insert a URL into the show notes or something.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, you want to keep it on stateside?
Yeah, stateside for sure.
Okay.
I can't win.
Nope.
You already have one.
You already win, Gavin.
I don't care.
You literally have one already. What do you need more for?
No co-hosts, no hosts, no whatever.
No
and family
Europeans,
members.
obviously.
No Europeans and family members.
What about that person in Jersey?
If Jersey comes through, we'll send it to Jersey.
Yes, that's right.
So say all of U.S. and Jersey.
And Jersey.
The country of Jersey.
We're just trying to get them out. We're trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, there you go.